Hey everyone! So today we are going to be making Perry the Platypus, as you can see here. Super adorable mini character plushie that you guys can create. This is beginner friendly, so let's get straight into it. So for the materials, you're going to need some 4-ply cotton yarn in the colors black, turquoise green, yellow, orange, and a dark brown if you have that. So this is 4-ply cotton yarn, but feel free to use whatever yarn you are used to, as well as that respective hook that you're used to as well. For 4-ply cotton yarn, I recommend using let's have a look here, a 1.9mm hook, as you can see. So, but feel free as well to use anywhere between a 1.75 and a 3mm hook for 4-ply cotton yarn. You're also going to need some 6 or 7mm black safety eyes. As you can see, this is what I have right now. Then you'll also need a pair of cutters. You'll also need a sewing, or in my case, I have a leather needle, which I absolutely love, by the way. Leather needles are the best. If you can grab yourselves one of these for mini amigurumi, please do it. And then this is optional, but feel free to get yourselves a set of pins as well, just so you can pin things to the body as you're about to sew them. And finally, of course, you will also need some fiber filling, as we call it. Okay, let's get straight into making our Perry the Platypus character. Alright, so you're going to grab some turquoise green colored yarn here, as you can see, and we're just going to start by making a magic ring. So if you haven't made a magic ring before, feel free to check out my beginner tutorial playlist for crochet. And once you know how to do those few basic things, then you can be sure that you'll be able to complete any one of my tutorials. Okay, so we've made a magic ring. As you can see here, there's a couple of different ways to make magic rings as well. This is not the only way, the way that I did it or the way that I teach, but in any case, we've got our magic ring, and now we are going to make 6 single crochet stitches inside this magic ring. And I am going to show you the type of single crochet stitch that I make. So if you're a beginner crocheter, you might be used to doing the whole yarn over technique and then yarn over again as you pull it through. So that may be one way that you're used to. Now, if you do that, that's completely fine, but you may find that your stitches aren't as tight, or they may not be as straight as you would like them. So I'm going to teach you what I do. What I do first is I have the yarn come underneath the hook, and then I have the yarn come over the hook. Now, some amigurumists, what they'll do to make it even more straight, or have those stitches aligned as much as possible, is they'll have the yarn come under first and then the yarn come under again. So I have just linked a quick short video here, or you can check the long form video as well, but the short video just tells you the difference between those single crochet stitch types. So in this video, am going to do yarn under, yarn over throughout the entire thing. Okay, so we are going to make our single crochet stitches now. So this is stitch number 1, number 2, here's number 3, number 4, number 5, and here's the last one, number 6, 6 single crochet stitches inside a magic ring. And as you can see here, you have a yarn tail that I want you to pull, and that just closes that magic ring. As you can see here, we've closed it all up. And then from here, what I want you to do, so for this example, I do believe I finished off with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now, if you want to go ahead and crochet this in a spiral, please do that. You may just have to adjust the position of the feet and the arms as you do that. For this tutorial, just because this is for beginners, I am going to complete each stitch. Sorry, I'm trying to have my voice a little bit raised because the next door neighbor is shouting some horrific words. So in any case, I'm going to pull this through and make a slip stitch just like that, and then we are going to chain 1 to finish off round number 1. So there we go. Okay, so for round number 2, this is what we're going to do. We are going to make an increase in every single stitch space, and this is how you're going to learn how to make an increase. What you'll do first is make a single crochet stitch in that stitch space, and then you're going to have your hook come in the very same stitch space and make a second single crochet stitch. So now you have 2 single crochet stitches inside that one stitch space, and we call that an increase by default. Okay, and we're just going to make all of these increases. So this is my second increase right here. I've just made another 2 over here, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6, you will also make these increases to have 12 stitches after the completion of round 2. Okay, so for round number 3, we are going to do the following. You'll first make a single crochet stitch, and then in the next stitch space, you're going to make an increase. 1, and here's the second one. So that there is the increase. So we've made single crochet stitch followed by the increase, and I want you to repeat that a total of 6 times. So that's 6 times in total, giving you 18 stitches at the end of round number 3. Don't forget to either finish with a slip stitch or chain 1, or if you're crocheting in a spiral, feel free to use a stitch marker as well so you can keep track of your stitch numbers. Okay, so we are now up to round number 4, and round number 4 is a little bit different, but I'm going to help you every step of the way. So I want you to start by making 5 single crochet stitches in the same color that we have been working with from the very beginning. So here's the 3rd, here's the 4th, and on this 5th one, at the point where you have 2 loops on your hook, I want you to now change the yarn color to yellow. So grab some yellow cotton yarn or whatever yellow color you have and pull that through those 2 loops on the hook to finish off the 5th stitch. From here, we're going to make something called a spike bubble stitch. So we're not going to work in this stitch space as you would think. Instead, we're going to come down 1 round below that and come here. But before we do that as well, we need to wrap the yarn first, then come into this stitch space, have these 2 yarn tails over the top of the hook. I don't know if you can see that. And then pull the yarn through and pull it all the way up. And then pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook. And so now we're left with 2 loops on the hook. And I just want you to repeat that again. So wrap the yarn, come in the same stitch space, pull the yarn up, and it's imperative that you pull that yarn up a little bit and then pull the yarn through only 2 loops on the hook. And this leaves you with 3 loops on the hook right now. And last time, wrap the yarn, come inside the same stitch space, pull up the yarn, and again pull through 2 loops on the hook. You're left with 4 loops on the hook, as you can see here. And from here, you're going to change your yarn color back to this turquoise green and pull it through all 4 loops on the hook just like that. And you've just completed your first spike bubble stitch. Well done, guys. And now what I want you to do is come in here, wrap this yellow yarn over the hook. So just weave it in for at least 1 stitch and make another 5 single crochet stitches. So that there is my number 1. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. Number 4. And here is number 5, but in the same way, we are going to finish off this single crochet stitch with our yellow cotton yarn. So pull that through just like that. And then it's at this point, we're going to make another spike bubble stitch. So wrap the yarn first and come down here. And then pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook. And then we'll do it again. So wrap the yarn, pull it up, and then pull it through 2. And one more time, wrap the yarn, come through, pull it up, and pull through 2 loops on the hook. So you've got 4 loops now on the hook, and we are going to change our yarn color to this turquoise green again and pull through all 4 loops on the hook. And then you have 6 single crochet stitches left, and for the first 1 or 2, you're going to weave that yellow yarn tail in as you make these single crochet stitches. So there you go, there's 1, and here's number 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally number 6. Feel free to pause this video at any time, guys, and then press play when you're up to the same point as me. So there we go, we finished it with a slip stitch, and now we're going to chain 1, and we are now up to round number 5. And there we go, so we've just finished round number 4 now, and we've finished with a slip stitch and chain 1. And now from here, we're going to complete rounds numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's 4 rounds of just turquoise colored yarn making 18 single crochet stitches. So nothing new here, guys. We're just making 18 single crochet stitches for the next 4 rounds until you have completed round number 8. And then we will come back together to complete round number 9. Okay, so rounds 5 to 8 have now been completed. So what we're going to do now for this round is we're going to make some of these spike bubble stitches again, but we're going to use turquoise green color, so not too difficult because at least we don't need to change yarn colors, which is nice. Okay, so you're going to start off with 4 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, and here's number 4, just like that. And then here you're going to work not here, but over here. in this stitch space down here. We call that an elongated stitch or spike stitch. If I was just to complete a single crochet stitch in there, we call that a spike stitch. But we're going to wrap the yarn and make a bubble stitch at the same time, so we call it now a spike bubble stitch. So wrap the yarn, come into that elongated stitch space, pull up the yarn, pull through 2. Repeat the process another 2 times. That's the first. Here's the second. Just like that. We've got 4 loops on the hook, and we're going to pull that turquoise green colored yarn through those 4 loops on the hook. Now we're going to complete another 7 single crochet stitches. So this is number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7. And I am going a little bit faster, and feel free to pause that video just because we have done these techniques before, so you should be able to do them now. And then we're going to do the same thing, spike bubble stitch right here. So wrap the yarn first, come down here, pull the yarn up, pull through 2, and repeat another 2 times. Wrap the yarn, pull up, pull through 2, wrap the yarn, pull up, and one last time, pull through 2. 4 loops now left on the hook, and we pull the yarn through those 4 loops on the hook. Well done, guys. So that is now the completion of the 2 feet and the 2 arms right there. And you should only have 5 single crochet stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally the 5th. Continue in your spiral for the next round, as I'll tell you, or finish with a slip stitch and chain 1. And now from rounds 10 to 15, so that technically is 6 rounds, you're just going to be crocheting 18 single crochet stitches in each round. So that's 6 rounds of 18 single crochet stitches. Pause this video, complete those 6 rounds, come back, and we will complete round number 16 together. Alright, so round 15 has actually now finished, and I just pulled this out. So this was where my hook was situated, and I pulled it out just like that. And then I've inserted my 6/7, and I say 6/7 because you can use either one, millimeter black safety eyes, and I have put them in between rounds 13 and 14. So this is round 13 here, and then this is round 14 over here. So I've inserted those eyes in between those 2 rounds. I've clipped them on at the back there, and there is about a 1.5, if you include these 2 portions together, 1.5 stitch spaces between them. Feel free to work out how many stitch spaces you want between these eyes as well. Remember, you do have a little duck beak, or platypus beak I should say, that comes around about here as you're sewing it on as well. As you can see here, we've kind of put this down here, so just be mindful of that as well. But this is looking great, and now what I want you to do is add fiber filling to the body at this very point, and add it layer by layer. And to put it in at the bottom there, you can use a pair of cutters or something, and this just helps to condense it and compress that fiber filling as much as possible. So get going with that, guys, and then finish adding that fiber filling maybe up to around this point over here, and then we'll get started on those last 2 rounds to finish off the body together. Alright, so I've just added the fiber filling just a little bit underneath this last stitch round, as you can see, and this is because if I keep adding it, it's going to be really difficult to finish my last couple of rounds. So I'm going to do this next round. This is round number 16. And then I'm going to add more fiber filling and then complete the last round. So let's get onto it right now. So we're going to start off with a single crochet stitch first. And next we're going to use the technique, well, technically it's a decrease that we are making right here, but this type of decrease is called an invisible decrease. And I'll show you why. The hook will enter the front loop of the next stitch space, and then it will enter the front loop of the very next stitch space as well. So you will have 2 loops on the hook there, plus this one, so that's 3 loops in total. And then you pull the yarn through the 2 loops on the hook, leaving you with 2 loops on the hook, and then you pull the yarn through just to complete that stitch. And that just brings those 2 stitches into now 1. And you can't really see it, so we call it an invisible decrease. And we're going to repeat this over and over again, a total of 6 times. So single crochet stitch first, followed by an invisible decrease, front loop, pull the yarn through and pull the yarn through. And we're just going to repeat it again, single crochet stitch first, followed by invisible decrease, front loop, pull and pull, just like that. I want you to finish this off another 3 times, and that will have you finishing round number 16. And just like that, we have now finished round number 16, and I'm now going to fill this up all the way to the top with fiber filling. It's a lot easier this time just because we have already made a decrease round, so it makes it easier to fit this stuffing or fiber filling inside without it just popping straight out. So I'll let you guys do that, complete it until it's all the way up to the top, and then we'll get our last round done together. And for the last round, this is round number 17, we are just going to complete this with a total of 6 invisible decreases. Now, if you crocheted in a spiral, what I want you to do is only complete 5 invisible decreases, and then in the very next stitch space, you'll complete a slip stitch. Again, that's only if you crocheted in a spiral. If you didn't, you'll just complete a total of 6 invisible decrease stitches and finish off with your slip stitch and chain 1 as per normal. So here we go. We only have 1 more invisible decrease to make, which is right here, and I'm going to finish now with a slip stitch, and technically it's a chain 1, but you're pulling the yarn through, and I'm going to cut it. Let's say I'll give myself around about 15 centimeters worth of a yarn tail here. Okay, if you need to add any more fiber filling, now is your last chance to do it before you close up this this circle here. Grab yourself your sewing or your leather needle at this point, weave the yarn tail through the eye, and what you want to do here is you want to have that yarn needle, or technically just the needle, going through the front loops only of all the remaining stitches in that last round. So that's either 6 or 7 if you crocheted in a spiral. So here I've put mine through 3 front loops at this point. Here's the 4th, here is the 5th front loop, and my number 6 front loop right there. And then once you've done that, you're going to pull your yarn tail and close this circle gap, and that just finishes your project nice and neatly. Push any bumpy ends kind of into the center, kind of just like direct them into the center with your needle as best as possible. And then what you will do is have the yarn needle come right in the center there, and then you can pop your yarn needle or needle anywhere in the body and then pull it underneath just like that. And you can see how I've got a little bit of a bumpy area over here, so I'm going to kind of direct that into that space or that gap in the center there, just to really flatten it out. And there we go, nice flat top as you can see there. And now from here I'm going to weave this yarn tail in, and can you see how we've made kind of these miniature X's on the stitch? This one comes over the top of this diagonal underneath here. We are going to line our yarn tail up with this dominant diagonal line, and that will just help us weave our yarn tail into the body without it becoming very noticeable. As you can see there, you don't even notice it anymore. And we're just going to do that 3 to 4 times total. 1, and you don't have to pull it super tight either. It's just enough for it to be non-noticeable. Okay, so that is good enough for me. I've done that 3 times now. I'm happy with that. I've cut any excess off and push any remaining inside the body to hide. And there we go. There is our complete Perry the Platypus body all finished right there. Alright, so we're now going to complete the beak. So what I want you to do is start off with making a slip knot, just like that. And then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've chained 3 now. I want you to come in this well, technically this is the second loop from the hook, so the second loop from the hook, and you're just going to make a single crochet stitch like that. In this last loop round here, you're going to make 3 single crochet stitches. So 1 in the same loop, make another single crochet stitch, 2, and 1 more, 3 coming up. Okay, so here we go. Number 3 is right there. And then you can see we're kind of working on the other side of the chain now in that very last space right there, and you're just going to make an increase here. So 1 and 2, just like that. Okay, so now what I want you to do is come into the very first stitch space that you made and make a slip stitch and chain 1. So now we have technically 6 single crochet stitches that we've made right there. And from here, all I will get you to do is to make another 2 rounds. So this is rounds 2 and 3 with just 6 single crochet stitches. Nothing fancy, just 6 single crochet stitches all the way around to completing round numbers 2 and 3. So let's get back once we've finished those. Oh, and actually maybe I'll keep you here because I just want to tell you something that's really important. After this second round, by the way, so as you come into your first stitch space of the round to make your slip stitch and chain 1, make sure, so you can actually do this now, but slip stitch, chain 1, and especially after the second round, you don't really want to wait any further rounds to do this. Have it pointed in the right direction. So you need to turn this inside out or outside in to make sure this is facing the correct way as you complete the third round, because if you wait too long, it becomes more difficult to turn it inside out. Okay, and then obviously this is the round number 3, where again you're just making 6 single crochet stitches and then finish off with a slip stitch and chain 1, and that will be your beak all finished. And there we go. So round number 3 all done. I've made the slip stitch. I'm going to pull this out and you're going to cut and leave about a 15 to 20 centimeter yarn tail there. And that will be enough to be able to do the sewing as well. You can cut this one. You don't need to fill the beak with any fiber filling, so we'll just leave it as is. But this is all ready for sewing later now. So that is the beak. And we are now up to making the tail. So there's nothing too difficult about the tail, but we need to know every single round that we are completing. So I want you to start off with a slip stitch. And then once you've got that slip stitch all done, I want you to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and number 7 right there. So we've just chained 7 right there. Then in the second loop from the hook, you're going to make a single crochet stitch. Just like that. And then you're going to continue on with 4 single crochet stitches. So here's number 1 in the next loop. Make another one, so that's 2. Next loop, we've got 3 now, and here's the 4th single crochet stitch, and kind of just push that out so you can always see that very first single crochet stitch that you made. And now in the last loop, you're going to make 3 single crochet stitches. 1, so it's similar to the beak. Here's the second, 2, and in the same space again, number 3, just like that. Then you have all of this other side of the chain to work in now. So you're not coming back in this same loop, which is the last loop. Instead, you're coming right here and you're going to make a single crochet stitch and weave this yarn tail in as you go. Let's make a second one in the next space. 2. Here's number 3. Let's make another one. Here is number 4, and you should be left with one last little space that you can get into, and you're going to make an increase at this point. You don't need to weave the yarn tail anymore, so increase 1 single crochet stitch, same space, make another one, and that is your increase now complete. And then, like I said before, kind of push that first single crochet stitch out so you can always see it, and I'm going to get you to make a slip stitch and chain 1 in that section right there. So there we go, that's the first round now complete. For round number 2, super simple. Technically you now have 14 single crochet stitches all the way around, and for round number 2 you're just going to make 14 single crochet stitches. So that's just 1 single crochet stitch in every single crochet stitch space until you have finished all 14, and then make a slip stitch and chain 1 to complete round number 2. For round number 3, we're going to do the following. We're going to make 5 single crochet stitches first. So 1, 2, here's number 3, number 4, and number 5. And then we will make and invisible decrease. You guys know how to do this now. So front loop, pull the yarn through those 2 front loops, and then pull the yarn through again. And you're just going to repeat that again. So 5 single crochet stitches first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the 5th one, and you should have 2 stitches left over in that round, and I want you to make an invisible decrease again, just like that. And then in this very first stitch space, you are making a slip stitch and chain 1. 3 rounds now complete. For the next 3 rounds, so this is rounds 4, 5, and 6, all you will be doing is making 12 single crochet stitches. So that's 12 single crochet stitches in every round for the next 3 rounds, rounds 4, 5, and 6. We'll come back together at the beginning of round number 7. For round number 7, so we've completed up to round number 6 now, we are chaining 1 after we've done that slip stitch to finish it off. And now for round number 7, this time you're going to make 4 single crochet stitches, 2, 3, 4, followed by an invisible decrease, as you can see right there. And let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus an invisible decrease to finish off round number 7, and just make your slip stitch and chain 1. You can also cut off this large piece of string, which was from our yarn tail, and we had already woven that in, so we can leave that as is, kind of push it inside. And now we're up to round number 8. So for rounds numbers 8 and 9, you will just be making 10 single crochet stitches. So that's 2 rounds of 10 single crochet stitches. Okay, and now we're up to our final round. This is round number 10. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So for round number 10, you'll be doing the following. So start off with 3 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, and 3, followed by an invisible decrease, and then again another 3 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, and 3, finishing up with an invisible decrease again, just like that. And then you'll come into the very first stitch space and make a slip stitch and pull the yarn through and give yourselves about a 20 centimeter yarn tail. Okay, so there we go. There's the tail. We do not fill this up with any fiber filling because we don't need to make this bulky. It's just a flat platypus type tail, as you can see here. So that is the tail ready for sewing when we get to the sewing portion. Okay, so we're now up to the Fedora hat, which is what Perry the Platypus is always wearing and is kind of known for as well. Okay, so you're going to grab your dark brown colored yarn. It doesn't have to be super dark. Like, there is a difference between these 2 colors, as you can see here. I just couldn't find this color, so I'm using an even darker color, the only one that I had. So what you want to start off by doing is making a magic ring. And once you've made this magic ring, what I want you to do is crochet crochet 5 single crochet stitches inside this magic ring. So you guys have seen this before from the body. In the body we had 6. Here for the hat we make 5. So this is the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th. Then we are going to pull the yarn, and then from here we're going to come into that very first stitch space, and I'm going to complete this with a slip stitch and a chain 1 because it is a lot easier sometimes. Sometimes, I mean, when you've got less in here to work with, it's easier to complete, as in when you have less single crochet stitches to work in a magic ring, it's easier to complete that magic ring with a slip stitch and chain 1. But if you want to continue on with this hat just using a spiral, feel free to do that, and you will just have to at the end complete your I guess the last round with a slip stitch after the completion of that round, just to kind of flatten out your hat. Okay, so in the next round, this is round number 2, we are going to be making increases in every stitch space. So that is a total of 10 stitches at the end. or in other words, 5 increases, giving you 10 stitches at the end. So we've already made, this is our 3rd increase right here. We've got 2 more to go, and I'll finish with a slip stitch and chain 1. For round number 3, all it is a single crochet stitch first, followed by an increase, and you're going to repeat that another 4 times, so you have 5 times in total, giving you 15 stitches at the end of round number 3. So remember, single crochet stitch and then an increase. For round number 4, we're going to do the following. So I'm just going to chain 1 to begin round number 4. You're going to start off with 2 increases. So here is the first increase. Here will be the second increase, 1 and 2. And then you're going to complete 5 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's number 5. And then another 2 increases again. So here's the first increase, 1 and 2. Here's the second increase, 1 and 2. Followed by another 5 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then finish off with 1 last increase. Just like that, slip stitch in the very first stitch of the round and chain 1. There we go. We are now going to work in the back loops only for this entire round number 5. So you should have a total of 20 single crochet stitches, but in the back loops only. So I'm going to let you complete that. By the way, here's the back loop. As you can see here, back loop only. And then you're just going to continue on all the way around. You should have 20 stitches after the completion of round number 5. Okay, so once you finish that, you can kind of see what it's looking like here. So we've got our 5th round right here, back loops only, kind of pushed it in. Now for round 6 and 7, I want you to make 20 single crochet stitches again, but this time you're in both loops, both those front and back loops as normal. Nothing new here, just 20 single crochet stitches for rounds numbers 6 and 7. And for round number 8 now, as you can see, we finished those rounds right there. I'm trying to make it a little bit clearer. Okay, so for round number 8, you're going to be working in the front loops this time. So here's the front loop, as you can see. And you're going to be doing the following. You'll make 3 single crochet stitches. So here's the second one. Always the front loop. And here's the third. And then in the very next one, you'll make an increase. 1 and 2. And you're just going to repeat this pattern. 3 single crochet stitches plus an increase, another 4 times in total. So technically that means you've got 5 of these in total, I should say. So I'll show you again. So 1 front loop, single crochet stitch number 2, front loop number 3, and then front loop. Here's the increase, 1 and 2. All right, so technically now you have another 3 of this pattern to complete until you finish this round. Finish off with a slip stitch and a chain 1. And we are now up to round number 9. So round number 9 is as follows. You will start off with 1 increase. Then you will make another increase, 1 and 2, just like that. Then you will make 10 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause the video if you'd like, guys. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Followed by another 2 increases. So here's the first increase. And here is the second increase. Just like that. And then you'll have another 10 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is looking great so far. 7, 8, 9, and here's the 10th, plus your increase in your final stitch space. And then come on into the very first stitch of that round and make a slip stitch and chain 1. And this is round number 10, your final round here. So I want you to start off with an increase, 1, and here's the second, second stitch to make that increase. And then you'll have 5 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, followed by another increase right here, just like that. Then another 5 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, with the next stitch being an increase stitch, as you can see right there. Perfect. We are looking good so far. Now in the next 5 stitch spaces, you're going to be making half double crochet stitches. So here is the first half double crochet. And then here's number 2, number 3, 4, and by the way, if you don't know how to make a half double crochet stitch, you wrap the yarn first, you come into the stitch space, you pull through, you have 3 loops on the hook, and then you're going to pull your yarn through all 3 loops on the hook, just like that. Now in this, so you've completed now 5 half double crochet stitches. In the next space, you're going to just be making an increase, a regular increase. So that's your single crochet increase right there. Then have another 5 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, followed by an increase. 1 and 2, followed by 5 remaining single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here is the final 5th single crochet stitch. Then you come into the very first stitch space, make a slip stitch, and pull the yarn to finish it off. And I want you to maybe cut about a 20 centimeter yarn tail as well, just to finish that off. So there is your fedora hat. As you can see here, it's looking great. And you can choose which side you want for your front or back. So I'll probably have mine like this. Technically that means where the yarn tail is, that will be the back. And then I'll have the other one for the front, just like that. To finish off this fedora hat, we're not going to do anything fancy. I'm not going to be chaining black yarn. I have some other patterns where it's a little bit fancier. But because this is a beginner pattern, I want to make this the easiest way possible for you guys, so you don't have to stress out about certain things. So all I want you to do is grab yourselves maybe like a 20 centimeter or 30 centimeter piece of black yarn. And then all you need to do from here is kind of, if you know how to weave, that's really good. If you don't, all I'm saying is get your yarn tail to come through the backs of these stitches. You can go anywhere, you just want to get it underneath some of these stitch spaces. I'm kind of really not inside the stitch space at the moment, but try my best here. We're inside something, so I'm going to leave it as that. And just pull it up until I've got a little bit of a yarn tail, because we will end up cutting that at the end. And then what I want you to do is, can you see where that fold is over here? So you're going to have your yarn tail just at the beginning of that fold. So I'm going to do that around the side as well, just to make it look a little bit more like you can't really see it around the fronts and the backs. When we're going to have it go across the base of that hat, as you can see here, and then it's going to come back into that same stitch space or just one above it, just like that. And then, well, you can really leave it like that if you'd like to. That's kind of all you really need. So let's just leave it at that. If you wanted to, you could have your needle come out over here and kind of go over the top of it and then back into that stitch to really secure it in place. But that's completely up to you and how you want to do that. I can show you how to do it in just, I'll show you how to do it right now. So if I've got my black yarn just weaving through some of these spaces at the back, because you don't want to just have it come directly into that stitch space that we were talking about earlier. You kind of got to weave it in so it's not noticeable, and then come out here and then go straight back into that stitch space over here to kind of secure it off. So there we go, we've just secured that in place, so now you can't even lift this up, which is perfect. And then all I want you to do just at the end is just weave it back in a few of these stitch spaces. 1, 2, 3. That's probably enough. Honestly, you don't have to do this too securely. I might just do it. I say that as I'm doing another one. So here we go. I'm gonna pull this through just like that, and here's where I grab my pair of cutters and I'm gonna cut the yarn just like this and just like this, and there we go. There is the black lining on our fedora hat, as you can see here, and that completes our hat. So now we just have a little bit of sewing left to do to complete our Perry the Platypus. So I have actually pinned the beak on to the face, as you can see here. It's underneath the eyes, so technically it's between rounds 12 and round 13, so right here in line with this, in the middle of those two eyes. And what you're going to do is you're going to weave through both these two stitch spaces, so both the front and back stitches, and into the face between rounds 12 and 13 all the way across. So you're only going to be weaving it like that. So let me show you how now. So here we go. I'm going to, so where's my round 12 and 13? So between those, I'm coming into this next stitch space over here. Just be careful not to hurt yourselves with those pins that are already stuck into the body. A number of times I have hurt myself by poking myself, unfortunately. And then I'm going to lift up one of the pins, and then I'm going to try and get behind this. I want to get behind so that I can work from the front. So let me just see if I can do this properly. And then I'm going to, so I've got behind, and I'm going to go through the front and the back stitches just like that, pull up, and then come into that round, so between rounds 12 and 13 again, and come to the side. I've always got to try and make sure, at least for myself, that my yarn tail is at the back here. That way I can go through these stitch spaces a lot easier, front and backs, just like that. And then I'll come once more over here and do the exact same thing. Take out this pin and come from the back to the front. Now, if you want to do front to the back, that's completely fine as well. There's no like actual proper way to do this. I'm just helping you guys out, seeing what we do, and hopefully it works out. I do have a little bit of a method here though. So once again, I've just come straight to the opposite side because I didn't really get a chance to sew this part in right at the corner, just between those stitch spaces. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go right into the corner there, and then have my yarn tail come out at the back, as you can see here. I'm going to pull that as best as I can, and there is my beak all nicely sewed on. And I'm going to keep this yarn tail here for the moment because I'm going to match up this orange yarn tail at the end, come here, and then I can tie these together in a double knot and push it back into the body to hide. So let us now actually sew on the tail. So with the tail, I've kind of in the same way done the exact same thing. So what I want you to do is look, so you've got the beak and the tail as lined up as best as possible, and then your tail is going to be between rounds 6 and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So this is 6, this is 7, and it's kind of between those. So in the same way, we are going to start. I'm going to have my yarn come through here, and I'm going to go all the way to the opposite side. And then what I will do is I'm going to come either back to front or front to back and go through the side of that first stitch space, come straight back into here, and then come up between, so this way between rounds 6 and 7 again. I'm going to pull the yarn, and I'm going to come, for me, I'm going to come from back to front as best as I can. So actually it probably will be easier if I went front to back, just so I didn't have to poke that yarn in the entire time. So let's just try that. Let's see how far we get with that. So I'm coming into the next stitch space just like that, and now this time I will come from back to front just to make it easier for myself, and then again coming down here into the very next stitch space just like so, and then I'm going to remove that next pin from front to back through those 2 stitch spaces, just like that, pull, and then I'm at my final one right here. So I'm going to pull this, come out here, and then you can go anywhere, any direction at this point. So I'm going to have my yarn tail come through the side over here, and then it's going to go straight back into this stitch space over here. And then what we need to do is find where we had the yellow yarn tail, because I want this orange yarn tail to line up with this yellow yarn tail over here. And there we go. So now we have 2 yarn tails just like this in the same stitch space. We're going to tie these together in a double knot to secure them. So there's one, here's the second, boom, and then all I want you to do is get your pair of cutters, and then from here cut the yarn and push in that knot into the body and just hide it in place there. There we go. So we've got the tail now secured and our beak also secured, and just give it a little bit of a twist to twist it the right way around as well, and kind of flip it up there as well. So there we go, tail and beak now done. Let us now sew on the hat to finish this off. So with the hat, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I've woven it through my needle, and then I'm going to also weave it through a couple of these back stitches right until I get to the point at which it folds again. And you'll see why I'm doing this in just a moment. So I'm going to pull this through. So that's the point at which it folds, which is perfect. That's what I want. And I'm ready to start sewing. So I could even come out in one of these stitch spaces just at the base here like that. And you'll see what I'm doing in a moment. So this is all prepared now. And now remember, this is the back, this is the front. So what I will do is kind of pin this in place where I want the hat to be. I'm going to have the hat as flat as possible. So I'm going to pin it on the sides here. 1. And then I'll do the same for the other side. Just like that. And you can kind of angle it, or we can angle it better at the end. Just make sure that point is kind of right at the center of the face as well, as best as you can. Alright, so this is all pinned on, as you can see. And now we have our brown yarn ready to go. So we're just going to come into this stitch space over here, and then I'm going to come up to the side, take out this pin, and pull the yarn through. Just like that. So that's nicely secured right there. I'm going to come again into the very next stitch space and come around where my pin is. Somewhere around there, take out this pin and pull the yarn through. And then in the same manner, you're just going to work your way around the hat. Take out that pin, pull this through, and let's do one at the back as well. We didn't have a pin, but that's more than fine. And just try not to get that black yarn as best as you can. Okay, so we've done it in a few spots now. Now you can either, if you have a really long yarn tail, you can continue doing this just a few more times. I might just do it 1 or 2 more times. This way. And maybe just 1 more over this side. I'll come over here. Okay, and then I want you to come to the front. And when I say front, it's like almost front and center, almost, but not quite. We're just coming to the front. I don't know why I keep saying front. Here's the center, and we're like around that center, and then I'm going to come straight into the center and come out into the body. And I'm going to pull this down. I wish I had a little bit of a larger yarn tail, as you can see here, but it kind of pushes this in flat, which is exactly what you want. Now, if you need more yarn to do the sewing, feel free to grab yourselves more and just continue sewing, and then come out at the same end, tie it together just like that. Now, I can't really secure this just because I don't have another yarn tail to tie this to. So what I might do is the following. So I grabbed myself a little bit more brown yarn, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come straight into this stitch space, and then I'm going to come out the top here of my hat. Doesn't really matter where, just somewhere where there's brown yarn. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a yarn tail here so I can tie these two together. And then for this one, I'm going to just weave my yarn through the hat a few times just to secure that in place. Don't pull it too tight either, guys. Just saying. So I'll come down here and try and follow the direction of the stitch as well. So I'll do this maybe like 3 times, just how we did to close the body. There we go. And one more. Where's this? Over here. And then I will come over here, but it doesn't matter where you go. And then you'll just chop the yarn and then push it back inside. Okay, so that's now secured. And then with these two, all you're going to do is tie them in a double knot. So here's one, and here's the second. Grab your pair of scissors, cut this, put it over there, and push this inside the body to hide it. Just like that. Okay, so give it a little bit of a reshape. Make your Perry the Platypus stand out. You can also add a yarn tail to the very top of your hat. Not a yarn tail, a yarn chain. You can add a keychain as well, completely up to you how you want to do this. But add it to the very center. That's probably where you've got the center of gravity going as well. If you want to make a yarn chain, make a slip knot here, chain 50, make a slip knot back in that same spot as well. And then tie those two yarn tails together and slip it into the hat to hide it as well. But there we go, guys. We have just completed our Perry the Platypus, as you can see here, with his tail, beak, and fedora hat. I really hope you enjoyed this. This was a beginner tutorial, and stay tuned for more. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Leave a comment so that I can see it. I will reply back to every comment that I see on these videos. Guys, thank you for helping me make these videos possible, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.